Alrighty folks, we're here at the house. We're going to take a look at some awesome high-end Native American jewelry that actually belonged to our good family friend, Lynn's best friend, who passed away recently. Some really nice stuff. She had really good taste, and she actually was a jewelry designer. Yeah, some really cool stuff. What sticks out most of all, obviously, is this concha belt. I believe it's all Royston. The matrix is kind of a dead giveaway, but the stamp work is really what makes this belt so special. It's not the leather. The turquoise is good. It's all natural. The stamp work is spectacular. Real thick single piece, and these are nice and domed, so they would actually, you'd stamp this from the top, stuff like this, but this you would actually put it upside down and stamp it from the bottom so that it would pop out. A piece like this, you're probably annealing it 10 times so that it doesn't break, just to get all of those stamps. Really nice. It's not perfect. If you look up here, definitely handmade by a real live human being. Nowadays you'll see even high-end concha belts just being machine made, and that's an easy way for an artist to replicate his or her work over and over and over again. This belt buckle was appraised at $10,000 in Aspen? An Aspen one? Mm-hmm. Not too long ago. I can definitely agree with that. This would easily go for probably $15,000, $20,000 in Santa Fe. Well, Santa Fe's a little overpriced. Here is the clasp. Somebody's hallmark there. You can see how they hit it from the back to get those cool cones. Non-calibrated calves, obviously. Some influenced patina, but that's supernatural, you know, with jewelry. This is probably not that old. I don't think it's like from the 70s or something. This is probably my favorite piece of turquoise in here. Really good polish. If I wore this, my belly would have sanded that down by now. Really cool. Beautiful one-of-a-kind concha belt. Could you rock something like this, Lynn? Huh? Could you rock something like this? No. Have you ever had a nice concha belt before?
I did. I lost it.
To my knowledge, I think concha means shell, right? Mm-hmm. It's supposed to look like shells or something. Regardless, it's absolutely stunning. I would love to see the turquoise. I wonder how thick and deep the turquoise is. Royston, as you folks know, can be really super thin. And just on the surface, it's the nature of like the veining with Royston. A lot of people know the Royston ribbon turquoise, those thin veins. We can cut down those veins and get thin surface pieces like this. I don't think that these are just surface pieces, like some of them like this and this. I bet you it goes all the way through to the bottom of the cab. And all the cabs are different heights. That's kind of irrelevant in a nice big belt buckle like this. Ooh, I can kind of see to the bottom there. I wonder if they're using backing formula to raise these up, or maybe not. And with Royston, the matrix is so awesome that you really don't need backing formula a lot of the time. This piece is spectacular. Maybe some of them have backing formula, some of them don't. We'll probably never know. Then there's all these other goodies here. Everything is for sale. I don't know what store in Aspen they're going to for consignment. This piece is super cool. Can't really tell what type of turquoise this is. You hear me talk all the time about how sometimes you'll see like polished scratches. This is a great example of that. Most of this was just hogged out on a saw. Then they just buffed the saw marks. I think it gives it I think it gives it great character and texture to this bear sculpture. Kitty, what are you doing? And so yeah, the scratches there don't bother me at all. I don't think this would be worth any more money if it was like perfectly polished and rounded off.
I like it.
I like the style. Me too. You know, the Hopi Zuni and Dene, they usually don't put out fetishes that are rough like this. You'll see their work will be a lot more smoother and stuff. I don't know who made this. It doesn't really say. It could just be like, oh, there's a hallmark there. Maybe one of you folks can tell me. Either way, super simple stamp work. Super simple bezel. Nice big bail. That can easily fit around beads. In fact, I think it'd probably look better fitting around beads than it would just a simple necklace. $500 for this is what they appraised it at. I don't know the shop who's appraising it over there. Don't really have any opinions on that, but I'm always skeptical on prices. Some things I think are a little underpriced coming from certain appraisers. Some things are way overpriced. All these pieces are fantastic. I definitely think if I made that, I would probably want at least $500, so that's probably good. I wonder how old it is, though. Doesn't look that old, or maybe it just wasn't worn. Really cool. Love the polychrome spot on the bear's face. All those polished scratches, super duper rough. Probably roughed it out and then just sanded the back so it would be flat to be bezeled. I wonder, looks like they might have made a bit of a girdle on the side. Some spots look less flat and a little bit more angled than others, but super awesome. Really well done. Turning super simple materials into a really nice piece. Check out this ring here. Is this what they call Hawaii jasper? A picture jasper? I think it is what they call Hawaii. Hawaii. Seems to have a name on there. Daniel Yazo? It says landscape agate. See there again. Who's saying that? Like, it's obviously a jasper. So, you know, I should go to school to be an appraiser. $300, not bad, regardless of if they got the name of the stone wrong. It's thick, it's clean, nice triple split shank. You can see there, that's very, very handmade. It's not perfect, it's actually deeper on this side. Those two saw marks there, deeper than that, but that's totally fine. Nobody really cares about that. They just took one piece of half round sawed 2 marks on each side and then bent the shank, the size of the shank, to give it that look. Yeah, super thin backing. Nice, it looks like handmade granulation there. You can just solder the tip of a piece of silver wire and have it drip over a cup of water to make little balls. Then, yeah, super thick piece of half round around the end with the twisted wire on the inside. Almost gives it like a shadow box style look. Really cool ring. I could never rock something like that, but it's definitely Native American style, but it doesn't demand a Native American like look. Like, this could go with a lot of things, and I think it's really cool. And for $300, that's not a bad deal. These earrings are really cool. I have no idea what kind of turquoise these are. If anyone has any suggestions on what they might be, I'm all ears. Yeah, I don't know. They could be Chinese turquoise, but that does not make it bad. If you saw my video from the Santa Fe Indian market, there was $1 million piece of Chinese turquoise there. Also, gentlemen like Daniel Lopacki explain how a lot of high-grade gem Chinese is worth more than some American. Really simple earrings. Handmade jump rings there. Twisted wire. Freeform cabochons, definitely not calibrated. Yeah, I'd love to know more about this turquoise. Really nicely done. I don't see any hallmarks. Just says sterling. Doesn't mean that it wasn't made by, a reputable artist. Sometimes when artists are commissioned by big companies to make a bunch of one thing, they don't always stamp it. You see that with old pawn jewelry a lot, when things were just kind of made for the trade shop stores and stuff like that. Really cool. I think these are 800. Not bad, but that is kind of up there, in my opinion. No offense. The bezel's not perfectly put together right there, but it doesn't matter. These are super solid. Again, right there with the bezel. And this one is on the top. But really clean. Really clean. Then the squash blossom necklace. Vintage. How old do they think it is?
60s.
How do they come up with that? Do you think it's from the artist's stamp or whatever? Only $2,600. I wouldn't sell my. I've had a gentleman offer me $1,200 for my Naja and a gas station in Barstow. This one's definitely more than twice as good. The Naja's nice, but I couldn't pull off a Naja like this. For those of you that don't know, Naja, the story I know about Naja is that it actually comes from African symbols. I have videos on the African village in Tucson, and there's big Najas that some people think are necklaces, but they were actually horse trinkets that came over as a symbol after the Moors conquered Spain. And then when Spain came over to the Southwest, it eventually was adopted by Native American artists. But that's the story I hear. And I hear a similar story about squash blossoms, and that's not originally designed off of a squash blossom flower. And you know what it is?
No.
It's a pomegranate flower from Africa that came over here, and same thing, came from Africa, brought over to Spain from the Moors, then adopted by the Native Americans, and it's not a squash blossom flower. These are just the stories I've heard. I've asked several people. Some people knew exactly what I was talking about. Some people didn't. I could be wrong. That's fine. But actually, I think the best thing on this necklace are these bench beads. These tight-lipped UFOs. If you went to a store in Santa Fe and bought these beads, you could expect to pay like $25, $30 each for this vintage and this quality to repair the necklace and stuff. The clasp is probably not original. That is like some Hobby Lobby clasp right there, but everything else, especially these bench beads, are spectacular. I cannot wait to start making bench beads. You can make a living off of bench beads. When I was at the Santa Fe Indian Market, I was expecting to see more foreign-made bench beads or machine-made bench beads, but I didn't see any. I'm sure they were there. Something like this, just one strand, you can expect to pay, of this vintage, $800, maybe $900 even, with this double strand and stuff. But from the Philippines, you know, modern, you could probably get it for $100. My bench bead necklace that was given to me, I think was only worth like $200 and something for how big they are, because it's Mexican. Made in Tasco, Mexico, which is great. They have their own indigenous style over there. There's a great story about Tasco, Mexico. If you don't know it, check it out. Long story short, a gentleman went over there who was a jeweler, started training the Mexicans in Tasco, and told them to not worry about the European style and start doing more like traditional indigenous style pieces. And that's why you see some really cool pre-Columbian influenced pieces coming out of Tasco, Mexico. And a lot of obsidian, a lot of amethyst, a lot of jade. Not so much turquoise coming out of Tasco, actually. Is it Texaco or Tasco? Tasco?
I don't know.
You know what I'm talking about, though?
Yeah.
You have a couple Tasco pieces. Mm-hmm. The turquoise, again, I have no idea what this is. The black gives me ideas, but I really don't know. I love how earthy they are. This is a great price for this necklace in this size. Really beautiful. Turquoise is really naturally done. It's probably so old. You know, Diamond Pacific was around back then, but companies like Cab King, Easy Cab, and all those guys who make really nice diamond machines, they did not really exist. I think Diamond Pacific was Gemtech back in the day. And so they were all using silicon carbide belts, which are a little bit more tricky to use. They definitely work different materials differently. Pieces from this vintage, I see a lot of polished facets. I don't really see them on this piece here. I would almost bet money that these are backed. Yeah, and it even looks like they patinaed the inside of the bezel, which you do see from back in this time frame. Really cool pieces. Oh, this one you can see the backing formula. Right there, I knew it. That doesn't make it bad at all. It's done to be consistent. I would bet that the artist who made this necklace cut these pieces for this necklace. And yeah, turquoise, especially decent turquoise, has always been a commodity. And so sometimes you need to use backing formula to get the height of the pieces you want. You wouldn't want this to be, you know, as thick, as tall as where that turquoise is, and have this one be extra high. You kind of want it to graduate up, have the thinner pieces on the back going up here to thicker pieces. So sometimes backing formula is more than just cushioning a stone or stabilizing a stone. That's a topic for another video. Really cool. I would be really tempted to buy this. I could probably get $3,800 for this elsewhere. Put it in somebody's gallery. It looks like it has an old price on it or a date. You know, regardless of what it cost back in the 60s, it has nothing to do with what the value is today. Almost, it looks like a date because there's like a 19 there, and then what might be a 3. Let's look at the Nauseous Clasp. Definitely intended to be strong. Like, you can't take the nausea on and off like you can on mine. You have to take all the beads apart. You think I could rock this, Lynn? No, I don't think I could. With a Hawaiian shirt and my chest out? No.
Ooh la la.
No, I don't think I could. Really nice piece. I think this is probably, this and the belt buckle, I think, are the best deal. The kitty getting you?
Yeah.
I'm super tempted to buy that. Actually the Oahi. This Oahi Jasper is a great deal for how chunky this is. You could pull this off, I think. Does it fit?
It's too big.
You've tried already? Of course you did. You tried it all on, huh? Did you try on the belt?
No.
Do you think Grandma Jean definitely wore that, huh?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I think anybody's ever worn it.
She just had it?
She had it. She's a collector.
Yeah, she was a collector. She, I'm sure I've told you folks many times, but at least a lot of you folks watching probably don't watch the lives. Grandma Jean, the lady who owned all this stuff, who passed away, Lynn's best friend, she was a jewelry designer. She would go find stones. She would buy a lot of stones from me and Ruben Medina behind the Kachina. She put us to work for sure. All right, let's take a look at this. This, I think, is 1,500. Not bad. You know what that is? That's a Kachina. Yeah, I don't know if Kachinas are just big in the Hopi native way, or if it's also Hopi, Zuni, Dene, and the Pueblo areas. I don't really know, but I'm sure it's easy to find out. Those are little peyote buttons there. Real trippy. That is just like those are definitely handmade drops. So somebody probably cut into like a piece of tufa or something, and casted some silver to make those drops of silver right there. Ruben Medina does that a lot. The turquoise looks like Kingman to me, or some kind of Sonoran. It's hollow in there, and it's a bolo. The coral looks real. Doesn't look like bamboo coral to me. If you folks don't know, most really dark coral being sold is not Mediterranean, and it's actually an Asian coral called bamboo coral. And it is a real coral, it's just dyed. Really nice. Again, no hallmark. Maybe this was made for a shop somewhere. It's definitely southwestern. You would, see a lot of this style stuff out here, especially since Kachinas are, most people know Kachinas from like Hopi, Zuni, Dene faiths, not faiths, but cultures. I dig it. I do believe that every Kachina that people make is a real Kachina. Like, I think I've seen a book of all the different Kachinas. Have you?
I have. They got caught in the rain.
No. Where me and Lynn live, it's actually named after a Kachina. The first Kachina that supposedly contacted the people. Io Toto. I think I found a picture of Io Toto once online. It didn't have any feathers, but some people think that they were extraterrestrials. Looks pretty extraterrestrial to me. Some people think that it was more like spiritual or paranormal. What do you think they were aliens?
I think the peyote played a part in it.
Oh, wow. Really cool. I like that they left some of the burns. Almost looks like a reticulation or something, but I don't think it was intended. It's just from stacking multiple layer after layer of silver. So folks that do not silversmith, here's the thing. When you have your first layer of silver, you use a hard solder, and that has a higher melting point. So then you do your second layer, then you use like a medium solder, and that will melt before the hard solder. Then you do a soft solder, and that will melt before the medium, which will melt before the hard. Sometimes, and I bet you, especially like this right here, sometimes they just used one solder, and it'll remelt every other layer you have. But if the artist is really good, they can keep it all together and just use one solder. My grandfather uses one solder for almost everything. I stole his medium and soft many years ago. And I wouldn't be surprised if this is done with one solder. There's a lot of layers there, so don't know. The stamp work's super simple, but it's really cool. I could not pull that off. I don't know many people that could. Really special, just a nice piece. I'm starting to see a lot of Kachina silver sculptures coming out of the Philippines, and that's a total shame. I tell people all the time, I don't film a lot of Native American artists' jewelry because just from my video, somebody watching me from overseas could easily just copy the design, and a lot of these designs are a family's design, not just a cultural design. Like during the Santa Fe Indian Market, I was talking about the Effie family, the folks that do those little snake rings and bracelets and stuff. They're not too complicated, but I see those being faked all the time. Here in New Mexico, there is a little bit of protection. I hear there was a shop that got busted selling Philippine Native American jewelry as authentic, and it was multiple hundreds of thousands of dollar fines and potential some prison time, which I'm sure people are going to get off with probation at worst. But yeah, so be very careful. And also, if you're into jewelry, get used to the Philippine style. It's a little too good. The inlay material is a little cheap looking, especially the purple materials and the turquoise. And don't be afraid to ask someone directly to their face, is this from the Philippines or whatnot? You know, this has got its flaws, but it's beautiful for what's going on, and undeniably American. There's also a really cool thick jump ring on the back there, so that can be worn by a necklace. This is definitely something you would wear low, I think, not up on your neck. Really, really cool. One of the best deals out of all this stuff. That necklace, and that Hawaii ring. Really, really, really cool. I'm super tempted to buy this. Yeah. He's starting to see big Kachina silver sculptures being made overseas, which is a shame. There are people who make Kachina sculptures out of real gemstones and real silver here in America, but now they're coming over from overseas, and it's a real shame. And especially when it's misrepresented. Pretty sure that's Kingman. You burping over there, man?
Yep.
And last but not least, this beautiful bear pendant here. I can't tell if it's stamp work or if it's an overlay. It looks really, really deep and thick and a little bit too perfectly angled to be a stamp to me. I think it's overlay. Actually, I think I can see it. Or is that just a split for the ears? I was looking for a seam between the silver, and I thought I saw it right there on that line where it would be the two pieces of silver soldered together. But that could just be the artist giving this bear some ears. If they did it right, they could solder the piece to where you can't see the seam. But on the inside, I found it. You see that line in the middle of the silver there? Those are the two pieces of silver they did to make the overlay. And what overlay is they'd have a backing plate of the shape, then they do saw work of the pattern, then they'd put it on top of it. and it gives it really cool depth. This piece here is $600, and it does look like the name of the artist was on there, but I can't read it anymore. The chain is handmade for sure, out of silver jump rings and little flat pieces of silver. I like this type of chain because every little link is a little bit different. There might not even be an even amount on each side, but whatever works to make it hang right. And
Gives it authenticity.
oh yeah, the feathers are super duper cool. That's a lot of stamp work. Coiled a cool piece of silver around the end of the feather, the quill, I guess. So it looks like the hallmark says GGNM. Huh. I don't know, but this is really cool. I couldn't pull something off like this, but I think it's absolutely beautiful. Really cool piece.
Yeah.
Anyway, folks, thank you for watching. Just a short little video on these beautiful pieces. I'm heading to New York tomorrow. We're going to go play around with some Herkimer diamonds, and then straight from there, I'm going to the Denver Gem and Mineral Show. If you made it this far in the video, make sure to like the video if you haven't done so already. You should already be subscribed if you haven't already. Go ahead and do so now. It says only 11% of people who watch my videos are actually subscribed. Don't be that 89%. And subscribe for me. If there's anything you folks want me to film while I'm in Denver, feel free to let me know in the comment section of any of my videos. I try to answer all my comments. If anyone's interested in any of this stuff, you can reach out to me. I don't know exactly where it's going to be. It's definitely going to be more affordable here than it is going to be in Aspen. So if anyone's interested, feel free to message me. I'll let Lynn know you were interested. Most of you have my phone number. I'll get it to you, or you can text me. We're going to figure it out.
This is a sneak preview, too.
Sneak preview?
Yeah, this is a sneak preview.
Nice.
That's what you did. Nobody else has seen this stuff.
Look at that.